Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today I have an interview with a subscriber who is going to share a set of events so horrific that it honestly, when he shared this with me, I took a step back and was like, this has got to be the most intense encounter I have heard in a very long time. Before we get into that, though, a couple links. As you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and the membership are in the description below. The merch is displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support this channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost you a cent. Click that like button. It takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads I put out daily, click that bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment. Why? Well, because all of these things, they really do help this channel to continue to grow and go, and yeah, they really do matter. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's get into today's upload, shall we? Quick update. I spoke to Brad last night. Before the live stream, he and I had about an hour-long conversation. And if you don't know who Brad is, Brad appeared on Dogman Encounters radio with Vic Cundiff a while ago and parted ways with him. Came to my channel. He and I hit it off, and he has shared his experiences with all of us. He shot and killed a dogman. He has seen what he believes to be a guardian angel or dogman hunter. Well, we were talking, and he's going to come back on the channel and share a new event that he just recently had happen. But we were talking about other people and other encounters. He was just kind of asking questions about certain people, if I'd heard from them again, what encounters their encounter reminded him of his own and stuff like that. And this is one of those. But anyway, new interview with Brad will be on Wednesday. I'm going to be interviewing him on Tuesday, and I'm looking forward to it. So let's get into this interview, though. All right, guys. Today I have a subscriber from Washington, and I got an email about 2 weeks ago from him. And the second I read the email, I was taken back because of what it said. And I was like, I've got to get this guy on the show to share what has gone down with him. And tonight I have Bill from Washington. Bill, how are you?
Doing great, Jeff. Thank you. How you doing?
I'm doing good, and I appreciate you taking time out of your day. I know you're a busy guy to come on the show and share what went down with you.
You bet.
So right now, I know you're a busy guy. I'm just going to turn the floor over to you, and you can share with us what happened.
Okay.
The floor is yours, my friend.
Okay. Well, I'll give you just a little background of who I am. I'm Bill from Wall, Washington. I raised cattle and farmed my whole life. First thing I remember in life is Christmas, getting my pellet gun at 4 years old, and started hunting at 4, shooting sparrows, things like that. And I just had a knack for it. My grandfather was the first game commissioner in the state of Washington, only one appointed by 3 consecutive governors, and hunting was what we loved to do. hunting and fishing. The only time I ever got off was to hunt. So I loved hunting, and I got very good at it. And I'll take you to what started this. Is my son-in-law and I and two other people went up to our cabin, which is in Oregon, just on the Oregon side of the border in Washington, right out of Milton Freewater, Oregon. And we went up to look for morel mushrooms. And each of us had a kid or two with us. I had my granddaughter and my son-in-law next to me, and she was 4 years old at the time. I think all the kids were around 4. We all had pistols on us, because there are wolves up there and bear and stuff like that. So we did put pistols on our sides, and we started looking for mushrooms. It was a good day out, nice and sunny, and a little bit of cloud, but not bad. And we started looking for mushrooms and spreading out maybe 100, 200 yards apart, and just a place you couldn't see them. And we're walking toward our bluff, and I smelled something dead, and I yelled for my son-in-law to come over, and I said, "You stay with my granddaughter, and let me go figure out what's going on." And so I followed that smell, maybe 100, 200 yards, and over toward the bluff, I came upon a dead cow elk, and she was a big cow, good shape, just in her prime. She's 5, 6 years old by her teeth, and I couldn't see any wounds on her. That's what was strange to me. It looked like maybe her gut had been split on the other side, but there was no wounds like a wolf would do on the legs. They usually take them in the flank, in the leg area, to slow them down and finally pull them down. And she was killed within 24 hours of what I could tell. Great shape. And like I said, just no wounds that I could see. And the brush around her was about 2 feet tall, not knocked down at all. Just a very strange sight. And so I looked over to my left and saw what was a bull elk about 30 yards away. He was eaten all the way to the shoulder, right behind the shoulder. Clean, no bone, no nothing, just straight through. No wounds on the front of him, no nothing else. He was a good bull, probably 3, 4 years old. His nubbins were just starting to come up velvet, about 5 inches. And the funny thing about that one was some of the hide was kind of rolled up, like it had been pulling on that hide, back to get onto that meat. And it was real fresh too. It was just an odd sight because they usually don't kill 2 that close together. My first thought was maybe it was 2 cougars, breeding season maybe, and maybe 2 big cats, took them down. But there was no biting in the neck because they'll jump on their back, grab them in the neck, grab them by the end of the nose, pull the nose around, bite the neck. Just very strange.
Right.
No bones. There was enough grass on there. You couldn't see no dirt, no nothing. You get a track brush and just started to come up and stuff. And it'd been real green, so I couldn't find a track. And I just really bothered me the rest of the day. And we went home and just kept bothering me. I called a friend and told him about what I'd seen. I said, "What do you think?" And he goes, "Bill, I don't quite know on that one, Bill." And so after about 3 days, I wanted to know what it was. So I grabbed the 10 gauge side by side. It's got a full choke on it. I grabbed some 5-inch shells, I think they are. And I had the old steel rounds and double-aught buck. And I grabbed 4 of them, put them in my pocket, and grabbed my 7mm mag, my Browning A bolt, and grabbed 8 rounds of 165 grainers. It's a real good bullet. Used it before. It's just a real good bullet. And I shot this gun for a lot of years. had an older scope on it, but I'd sent it away to Leopold. Had a varmint dot put in it because I like the little dot when you're shooting out a long ways running. It doesn't cover so much of the animal, and you can really hit what you want to hit. So I've been using that for a long time. A lot of bulls, a lot of bucks, bears, you name it. I've shot everything with it. And so I grabbed that, and then I grab a FNH pistol, 5.7 28. It'll hold 21 rounds. That's one in the chamber.
Yeah.
And so I grabbed that, and I went up to the cabin, about a 45, 50-minute hour drive, which would be a road called Government Mountain Road. And so I go up there, and I get out and open up the gate real quietly and bring my rig right inside the gate. And you'll see you have a rig go by every hour or two, you know, so there's a little noise down there. They don't know where I parked. So I just pulled inside the gate a little ways and grabbed my shotgun and locked my rig up and snuck into where those elk were real slow, just real slow. And I got in there, no smell, no nothing. The cow was gone. She was just gone. There was no bone, no nothing. No drag marks, no nothing.
It's like something picked her up.
Pardon me?
Like almost like something just picked her up and carried her
Yeah,
away.
it just didn't make sense. There's no bone, no hide, no hair, no nothing.
Wow.
So then I went over to the bull, and he's gone. And there was one little bone, about 2 inches long, just a little bone. That's all I could. It was a jawbone, and that's all I could find. And I'm sitting down there, and I'm kind of knelt over and just kind of trying to suck all this information up. And I kind of hear this growl, and I instantly know it's over the bluff, and it's over the top. We've got a bluff on our cabin that runs about, maybe a mile long. It goes straight down about 30, 40 yards, and then you got heavy rock and timber and brush. And I heard this growl, and I'm like, what the hell? And I want to go over to the bluff and look over, but if it's down far enough, I can reach out 60, 70 yards with that thing pretty good, but I just don't feel right. And I just don't feel right. So I start backing up, straight back, looking left, looking right, looking forward. So I back up like that for 100, 200 yards. Just real slow. I just didn't feel right. And so finally, after about 200 yards, I turn around, I hightail it back to the truck, and I put my magnum there, put my 57-28 on the side, and I grabbed my 7mm Magnum. Put 4 in the gun, 2 in the chamber, 1 in the barrel, and it'll hold 4. And I put 4 shells in my right pocket. And I know right where these animals are. So I go through the timber, and it goes down to get out. I want to get out to this long ridge that's to the left of it. And from there, I can see anything. It goes for 2 miles straight down, and real steep ridge where I, just sparsely tree after you get out of the timber, and then it's just a couple of trees, and it starts going down real hard, rock and everything else. So I go down to that creek that goes by there and go up the other side in timber and go down the back side of that ridge and come around, and I want to get up to this one place. And so I sneak up there, and I got a red pack on. I got my spot scope, my binoculars in there, and I got a camo jacket on. And I walk up to that top of that ridge and just put my pack right there and get my gun on it, and I'm down looking around, and I don't see nothing. It's a pretty nice day out. It's about 3 o'clock. I got, a couple hours left of light. And I'm just sitting there. I'm just looking. I don't see nothing going on. Don't see no animals. It's just quiet as hell out. And not much of a breeze at all, just hardly anything. And I'm there about a half hour, and I'm thinking, well, whatever it was, probably gone, maybe, and maybe I better just go. Yeah, get my gun. I start to stand up. And I look back down there under that bluff, and I see something dark. It's kind of in the shade on the one side of the tree a little bit, on the right side, in the tall brush right there and stuff. And I see some movement. I know it's something. And so I get back down, get my gun back on there, and I just can see pieces of it in parts every once in a while. And I'm sitting there watching it going, oh, it's maybe a bear. I think it's a bear. Most of the cougars are lighter colored gray, black. I mean, they're not real black. A lot of them, you'll see them black like that, but most of the time they're not in my area, gray and things like that. But they're big. These wolves in my area are 225 pounders. They're the size of a deer. Not as tall, but their heads are big. And so I'm trying to figure out what the hell this thing is, and about that time I get my spot scope out, and I'm looking down there, and I'm like, oh, I think it's a big bear, maybe a big bear. And all of a sudden I see this kind of stand up out of the brush a little bit, and I know how tall this brush is, so I see this kind of stand up, and I'm looking at it, I'm going, what the fuck is that? And I can see ears on top and snout and everything else, but it just don't look right to me. I can see the left arm, but I couldn't see the right arm. He was in the brush there, and I'm thinking, okay, this is a wolf that he's got his feet up on a log there, and that's got to be what I'm looking at here, because your mind, you're trying to think what the logical thing is here, and I'm sitting there looking at it, and I'm like, oh shit, that thing's big. I mean, that's wider than a wolf should be on the top. It's just not right. And I see it put his nose up a little bit to the left, and he sniffs once, 2, 3 times. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I put my spotting scope down, get on my gun. I got on 9 power. That's as high as it'll go, but I'm really good at 9 power. And he sniffs 3 times. And then he zones right at me, just fucking right at me. I'm 200 yards, but he zones right at me. I tell, looking through the scope, and hey, he's looking at me. And I'm just, what the hell? And it's just a slight breeze now. It's just a slight breeze on my back. I'm like, oh shit, I think I'm had here. They should just run off. And I'm looking at him, and he, after the sniffing, he just zoned right at me. And like I said, and as soon as he did that, I flipped the safety off, and I could see him starting to growl. I could almost hear it growl. I could see his mouth open. I could see the teeth, and that's what really got me. Them eye teeth, excuse me, on the left and right were really big. Really big. It just didn't look right. It shouldn't be quite that big, but I just kept thinking, man, that's the biggest fucking wolf in the world. And as soon as he let out that growl, I squeezed off. And that frickin' Magnum just roared. And I'm one of them guys that I was taught real early, as soon as you shoot, you keep your head on that scope. See where that bullet hits, because that will tell you a lot. And the bullet hit him. I couldn't see his full, what would be his right shoulder. I could see the top, about 4 inches of it, and the brush was there. And from about the middle over, I could see on his left side, and I could see the arm out there. And on me, and when I took the shot, I hit him a little high, and I hit him that left shoulder, his left shoulder, and he went back, and I seen his come back a little bit, and he frickin' looked right at me and start to roar again. And as soon as he did that, I knew what I'd done wrong the first time, and I took the shot. And I hit him right down the row of teeth. When I got back on him, I seen slobber and teeth go up. And I think I hit him right to his bottom jaw on the right side. It took out that row of teeth, and his head flopped back a little bit and a little bit to the left. And he went right down. And I'm going, what the fuck is that? I'm either in a lot of trouble with the feds here, because I shot a wolf, or I shot something I don't know what the hell is.
Right.
I'm still trying to figure out what the hell this thing is. And I stand up, put another round in the chamber, in the gun, and about that time, out comes two running out of that brush above it. They're just a little bit above that, and here the first one runs out. He's black, and the other one's brownish, and he's right below him, but they're about 30 yards apart, and they're running toward that creek that I got across. And I instantly know they're either running out of the country, going to go up that draw where that creek comes down, or they're going to come around to me, because that's what animals do in this area right there. And I'm trying to figure out what the hell I should do here. And as soon as they run out, I sat down real quick, because that's what I always do. I always sit down. I like shooting from a sitting position if I can. That's my best way. And I sit down and get on the first one, and he is running so damn fast that I take the shot and I hit right behind him. And I don't miss at 150 yards running full bore. I mean, I just don't do it. But this thing's running so damn fast, I hit right behind him because I seen the bullet hit. And I crank another round in, and I can tell right there that I'm not going to be able to get on that first one. He's going to hit that timber before I can get a shot at him. So I get on the one below him, and I put it just a little more ahead than I did before, and I shot, and I think I hit him in the rear end somewhere. I thought I saw him just move a little back. I couldn't, I mean, it wasn't like that was a normal deer or something else. It had really screwed him up. And just made a little movement. So I get up and I'm like, oh shit. So I grab my other shells in my pocket, my other four, and I cram them in the gun. And I'm thinking, oh, Jesus Christ, are they going to come out right here like 50 yards from me, running at full bore at me? Or, it's maybe 60 yards. I kept backing up on that ridge. And I finally got to the place where there's just one tree there, because there'd be like one tree and there'd be 20 yards and one tree and 20 yards. And I just left my pack and I backed up a bunch and got by that last tree on that ridge, because there was no more way to go. I can't get down. It'd take me an hour and a half of running to get to the bottom, or an hour. There's just no way out. I can't get out that way. I can't do it. It's the last, thing for me here. And so I back up real fast into that tree, leave the pack on the ground, and I turn my scope from 9 to 4, because I know if they come out, they're going to be close. They're going to be close. So I turn my scope down real quick, and I back up to that tree, and I get on the left side. As I look back toward the timber up the ridge, and I'm on the left side, and I'm looking left, looking right, and I don't think nothing. They can't come from behind me. There's just no way. And I didn't think they'd come from the right, because it's a big open kind of clearing on the right side where it's not so steep on that ridge. And they're going to come either right at me on the ridge, or come around on the left side here where the trail is. And so I'm sitting there going, what the hell am I going to do here? And I'm also thinking, did I shoot a wolf? Am I in a lot of trouble here? But the ones I seen running across that hillside, they didn't look like wolves. I'm still trying to figure out what these are. And so I'm sitting there, and it had been 45 seconds, 50 seconds. And I'm sitting there looking left and looking right, and looking ahead of me, and I see some movement. And it was him going up from being on all fours to stand up on two legs. And he stood up on the shaded side of the tree, which me looking up the ridge would be on the right side of that tree. And I see him go up. That's what, if I wouldn't have seen him go up, I don't know if I'd have seen him like that. He was real black, so he kind of showed up that way. But, he got up next to that tree, and everything's dark, and it's hard to see. But I seen him go up. And so I've already got my gun up against that tree. I'm standing up there, and the tree's about, 8 inches across, probably 9 inches across. It ain't a very big pine. And I'm sitting there, and when he went up, I put it right on him, and I think I saw his head kind of go look a little bit to the right. I think he was looking at my pack on that ridge there, and it would be between us, but my left or his right. And I think I see him look at my pack, and then he kind of looks back at me, and about that time, I squeeze it off, and I think he's just starting to go down to all fours, maybe, or something, because I thought I saw his head start to come down a little bit. But I shoot, and gun like before, it just roars. Boom! And he makes this little jump forward, like I thought he was going to go down to all fours, but he made this little thing, and then he kind of popped up in the air and fucking goes right down and slams his head into the ground and his left shoulder. Just slam it into the ground. I could almost feel it hit the ground and from where I was at, and he rolls over, and then he starts kicking with his front legs and his back legs at the same time, like kick, 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 and they're doing it together. Like I've seen animals do it when they die and stuff like that. And I knew I hit him hard. I mean, that was only like 60 yards, it just easy. But he slams into the ground, rolls over, and kind of rolls down the hill. He's kicking, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? That thing was 8 foot standing up. I'm like, there's no fucking way. There's no way in God's earth that a wolf could learn how to do that. I'm trying to still feel like, what the fuck I'm looking at. And I'm a big Helsing fan. Always loved vampire movies and werewolf movies. I never believed in them, but I liked them, like the movies, action movies and shit like that. But that damn thing looked like a Helsing fucking werewolf. He's 3-4 feet across the top. And after I got over there, but so I'm sitting there. He knocks him down, slams his head, left shoulder to the ground. He rolls over, and he kind of kicks down the hill and ends up stopping in some brush on the left side of that ridge. And he's kind of kicking a little bit, not as much. And I'm sitting there thinking, what the fuck? There's got to be another one around here. And I'm just going, oh shit. And so I kind of bend down a little bit, and I'm just sitting there. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm going, oh, God, I know that the other thing's got to be here somewhere. And I kind of take a step to my left and look over that ridge where that rock is, and I look down there, and right above the brush down below me, maybe 50 yards, I see the back of one. He's walking to my left, trying to get around me. He's trying to hook around that ridge to get behind me. And I'm just like, oh, fuck. Didn't like the shot. And I picked up a rock, and I threw it behind him. And it was about the size of a baseball. And I threw it about 20 yards behind him. And it makes a clang on the rocks and shit. And he stands up and turns around, and I let him have it right in the side of the head. Boom! And he just goes right down. I see him roll down the hill, and that was it. No movement, and after that, no nothing, no kicking. I'm just, whoa, what the fuck? And I'm like, shit, I got 2 shells left, and I got them. And I'm just like, what the hell? I can't wait to get a picture of this and bring some people up here. And I walk over, and I want to see what the hell I'm shooting here, because I don't want to be in trouble either with the feds or shooting a wolf. And I walk over there, and his feet are kind of downhill a little bit at 3/4, and he's laying on his left side. I can see the left or the right paw or leg or whatever you want to call it. And his mouth was open, and I hit him right above the left eye on the inside, because it kind of popped his eye out a little bit. There's some blood there, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And I put my foot on him and try to roll him over a little bit, and I can't even do that. And I'm like, what the hell? This thing's got to be 450 pounds. I mean, this is as big as a bear. And I'm sitting there looking at this thing. I looked at the claws, and they're all 3.5, maybe 4 inches. Some of them maybe kind of chipped, some of them. And I'm looking at that, and I'm looking at his face. I could hardly look at anything else because the teeth, it just stood out. I'm like, whoa, that is a fucking killing machine. I just couldn't believe what I was looking at. And I left my phone at the car, and I'm sitting there thinking, what the hell am I going to do here? And I'm going, these ain't wolves, because wolves ain't eat, that they can't stand up. First of all, they just can't do it. And I'd never heard of a Dogman or anything like that. And so I'm thinking, what the hell is this? I'm going to get me a big stick up here above me and by the timber line. I'm going to roll this thing over. And So I go up to the ridge top there, and I'm standing there with my rifle, and I hear this kind of howl a long ways away. It looked like over on Blaylock, which they call Blaylock, and that'd be I think the South Fork of the Wall down below me. And I'm sitting there looking, and I'm going, what the hell was that? And I've only heard one wolf howl during the day, and this one just sounded different. And all of a sudden, I'm looking way down below me, and I see two of them damn things running right out of the creek bottom, right above the timber, coming around. And they'd hit a little timber pocket, and I'd see them go in there. They'd come out, and they were coming up my way. And I couldn't tell if they were going to come up my ridge when they got there, or they're going to cut them up that basin. And I instantly feel fear. I've never felt fear except once when I got chased by a bear and I ended up slapping it in the face, and luckily it all worked out all right. But they're coming out of that bottom, and they are running like mad. And it'd take an elk or a deer 15 minutes to get up there, even if they could run that hard, real hard, full bore up that. So I'm thinking, what the hell? And I'm looking at my gun. I open it up. I got 2 rounds left, and I'm thinking, I'm in trouble here. I don't know if I can take these down running with 2 shots. Everything was wrong. Felt wrong. Everything was wrong. And I wanted in my truck at that moment, right now. So I grab my pack and I run like a baby. And I run down to that creek, which only takes me going sideways about a minute. A minute and a half I was running. And I hit that bottom, and I started going up that trail to the cabin, and I'm going as fast as I can. And I get up to the cabin, and I puke because I pushed myself so hard, and I've done that a couple times in my life hunting, and I just, it was too much, and I just puked. And then I start running again, and I run down to my truck, which is probably 300, 400 yards down toward the main road, and I jump in that sucker, and I turn around, and I was going to leave the gate open and just go, but I just didn't want to do that. I just didn't want somebody coming in and breaking into our cabin and shit. So I pulled outside the gate. I ran. I shut the gate, and I take off. And I'm going about 40 miles an hour for the first 2 miles. I was hauling ass. Somehow I would have hit him. And it's steep and everything else. I shouldn't have been going that fast. And I got about 2 miles down the hill, and I'm trying to figure out what I want to do here. Who do I call? And who do I try to explain this to? DNR, state police, my friends. What the hell do I do here? And I instantly know that if I get a hold of the DNR or police or anybody else, they're going to have me go back up there, and they're not going to let me have a weapon.
Yeah.
Now I just didn't want to go back up there in the first place, and I didn't want to go back up there with no weapon. And so I come home. And this, you can't believe this, but I Googled real walking wolf, and fucking comes one of your stations. And I'm like, well, what's this? And I listened to 1 or 2 of those, and then I get one on there with Victor. And as soon as I heard him talk for 5 minutes, I knew he was a truthful man. And he was like me. He was just my type of person, somebody that I could work with and everything. I just knew. And I instantly knew after I heard a couple of your broadcasts and his and him being on it that somebody knew about this stuff. And I'm trying to think, what the hell they know about this stuff, but they're not saying nothing. And I'm trying to figure out what I should do. And so I just, for the first couple of days, I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Right. And
I'm starting to think if it was some type of hybrid wolf or something, I'm going to be in trouble. I left my rounds up there on that hillside, and I am freaking out. And I think on the 4th day, I get in my rig, and I would grab my 10 gauge, and I grab my SCAR, put a 100-round drum on her, gave me a 57, and I go up there, and I drive right up to the cabin, and I hauled my ass out to that ridge, and I picked up all my shells. And then I run back to the cabin, and I come home, and I threw one out the window about every 2 miles. And I come home. And I hadn't been up there getting mushrooms. I just kind of discouraged everybody from going up there. Oh, I can't go. It's not go good. Everybody's been up there. There's no mushrooms, blah, blah, blah. Because I'm afraid that my son-in-law, he just started hunting 5-6 years ago, and I'm teaching him everything. He's killed some beautiful bucks up there. But I didn't want him to go up there. I just didn't want him to go up there. I didn't want my grandchildren up there. And just really bothered me. And come home and never told anybody until about 2 years later. I'm talking to my son-in-law. He goes up there a lot. He can't hear very good. So I'm talking to him, and I tell him, okay, I'm going to tell you something, and you're not going to believe me. But I'm going to tell you, and I'm not going to tell him. I can tell you once, we ain't talking about it no more. And so I tell him the story, and he gets a funny look on his face, and he said, well, I got a call from a friend that, has ground up there, big grower, a big cattleman, and said he'd been seeing some black helicopters flying around that huge canyon in front of our cabin. And he said they're flying awful low, and they're going back and forth, and just something that they're not going to do for wolves right here. They're just not. And right then I knew something was wrong. And when I went back up, like, Shell, that Dogman was gone. Right. He was not there. And I just couldn't believe it. I stopped going up there. I haven't been up there in a couple of years now. I just don't like the mountains that much anymore. I live in Walla Walla, and I can look out my window and see all the mountains about 10 miles away. And I just put a whole new feeling for going into the mountains. After I heard that they could track you somewhat, I did have an experience here at the house that bothered me a little bit. I was out by the pool one night, and I heard something. I didn't know what it was. And I went in and got my 10 gauge, looked around, didn't see nothing. The next morning, I go out in the gate in the back of my pool area. There's a big grated gate, metal rods going down. And when I went out there, those metal rods were spread apart. Something either put its head in there and spread that open, or I don't know what. It just don't make sense. There's no way. And so that got me thinking that maybe they know where I'm at. And I am selling my house and gonna downsize, but it's just a whole new experience. I just put fear into me, and I'm one of them guys that never been scared of anybody, especially if I had a gun in my hand.
Yeah, like when you and
I was like one of those. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. I can take anything down in this world.
Yeah,
I knew it. I knew I was that good, and my nerves were that good. I knew it. And it just totally reshaped my world.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go up there this spring. Right now, you can't even get in there. Too much snow. But I'm going to go up there this spring. I'm going to go up by myself. I don't want nobody with me. I don't want to have to worry about somebody else. And I'm going to go up and I'm going to make sure those other two are not there. I don't want them there. I don't want them around my kids or my grandchildren. And I just don't want to wreck his world. And I'm going to go take care of it. I'll take care of it. I'll die trying. I've had it with it. If I can do that, I think I can clear my mind and maybe feel better about going to the mountains.
Yeah.
But I know where to set it up. I know every inch of that ground, and I've got a little bit of advantage there. And I truly believe that you have to hit them in the head. I think anything unless you got a 50 cal or something good size. I don't know, in the body with a 300 Ultra Mag. Maybe I don't know.
Or something like that. Yeah.
Well, they seem to be awful hard skinned or something. I don't quite understand that part. It don't make sense to me. But I hit the first one pretty damn hard in the shoulder. If that was a wolf, he'd gone down.
Yeah.
There was none of that shit.
Now, just so
And
everyone knows, just so everyone knows, Bill is not like, this guy is a rancher. He's raised cattle his entire life. He's had to take cattle out of the mountains in the dark on horseback. And
thousands of times,
by doing
thousands.
this,
All my ground goes around the Mill Creek watershed, and so I was the only guy for years that could go into the Mill Creek watershed on horse anytime I wanted,
unarmed,
and I knew it like the back of my hand.
Unarmed, right?
Unarmed, yes, most of the time, unless it was, I was looking for coyotes to take the pelts off, or it was deer season or elk season, then I'd always carry a gun in the scabbard. But 3/4 of the time, I never had a weapon.
Right.
Never.
And I said to him while we were talking, I said, Bill, just imagine being out there, how many times one of these things were near you when you were unarmed.
Had to be. Had to be.
It's insane.
My horse, we made a lot of noise, a lot of steep country, and a lot of the time I'd have to get off and lead the horse, because it's that steep. And I've had thousands and thousands of miles and hours in the mountains by myself or with my hired man riding, getting cattle out. I'd ride about a month every year, getting them out, month and a half. And nothing ever scared me. Nothing, ever. Bears didn't scare me. Nothing scared me. I knew with a gun, and nothing would take me and my horse. I've seen cougars fighting, rolling down the hill, and like I told you before, I seen one come out, kill one of my cows, and drag it up the hill, a bear. And he ended up being about 550 pounds. He was one of the biggest bears we'd ever seen in this country. But I don't know what he was dragging him uphill for, but he wanted him to uphill for some reason on that open hillside. And I was too far to yell, and I didn't have no gun. So he got a free meal on me on that day.
Now, something that you mentioned to me, there's some loggers that are buying some property up there, and one of them had asked you a kind of a weird question about going up on that mountain. What was that like? What do you feel about that?
I was up there after that. It was about a year later, and I kind of went over to that same place where those elk were, and his line was about 50 yards to my right, and he was there on his bike. He came riding up with another guy, and he come up to me and asked me, he goes, "You been hunting out on that ridge and shooting?" And I said, "No." And he said, "You sure?" And I said, "No, I haven't been up here in a year." And we left it at that. He knew I would tell the truth. Even if I was out there shooting, I'd tell him.
Right.
And it was just kind of an odd deal. And he just looked at me funny. And see, they clear cut everything to my property. So my ground starts with heavy timber, and anything that's out there feeding, they're going to walk over and get to that clear cut and say, "No, stay on this side. We got all this feed and trees to hide behind and everything else over here." So, we got we got some wolves in the area and everything else now, but this thing here was no wolf.
Yeah.
It just wasn't a wolf. It just wasn't a wolf. Yeah, I tell you the truth, I don't know what it was. At the time, I had no idea. Until I got a hold of your website, I didn't know I didn't know there was a Dogman around.
Right.
I had no idea.
You said like that.
And if these things are out, I tell you, they're a killing machine. They're just made to kill.
Yeah.
If you're blow Joe out there camping and walk along with a pistol on your side, I suggest you basically save that last shell for yourself, because if not, you're going to get ripped up real hard. But
when those two were flanking
you can take your shots at them, but I don't know. I think you got to hit them in the head.
Right. When they were flanking you, could you hear them? Were they being loud, cutting
no,
through?
No, never. He was only about 50 yards down to my left over the ridge there, and I didn't hear a thing.
Okay. Just
not a thing. Yeah. And I looked over there, and that's the one that was trying to flank me. He was trying to get around my left and get around behind me. And if I wouldn't have seen him in another 15 seconds, he'd have been around behind me. Wow. And I'd have never looked on that open hill behind me, because it just animals don't do that.
Yeah. That's another thing.
And,
I mean, like you said,
I got lucky. I admit, I got lucky, but I'm also a good shot, and I think that saved the day for me.
Yeah, but that just gives more credence to them being a killing machine. I mean, that's thick wood.
I've been on the Wall Walk Cattle Motor. I was on the Wall Walk Cattle Motor Board of Directors for 19 years. I'm not an idiot.
Right.
I know what kind of animals are around here, and That was not anything I've ever seen before. It was totally off the books.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what this thing was.
Now,
I don't know what it was.
Now, just a stupid, not a stupid question, because no question's stupid, but
yeah,
when that thing stood up and you saw it, did Sasquatch or anything pop into your head? Did you think about that?
No, because I could see the two ears on the top.
Okay.
And he had his arm, I think, around the tree, or had his arm on the tree, his right arm.
Yeah.
I couldn't see it, but I just had a feeling that he was using that tree to, as try to get behind a little bit. But if, he was on the shaded side, if I wouldn't have seen him move up, I wouldn't have seen him for a little bit longer.
That's insane.
I just wouldn't.
Yeah. That's insane.
And I'll tell you what, they're big. I think if you saw one in the wild, you'd freeze. I think people would freeze.
Yeah.
And that by freezing down, you're gonna lose your life.
I'm glad I was in a car when that one came out of the woods.
Oh boy, yeah. Yeah, because if not, if they make up their mind up, they're gonna come. They're coming.
Well, that's
they're killing out. They're a killing machine.
They're smart.
They're like Jurassic Park all over again.
Yeah, very smart too. Like when I had my
he wouldn't have been coming around behind me if he wasn't smart. I knew that.
Yeah.
When I got done, I was. That's what really freaked me out, is they were so smart.
Yeah.
And to zoom on right where I was, that was another thing. That gun roared. I didn't think he'd get the other two. I knew the one thing, but I didn't know the other two were there.
Huh. Yeah.
But after he made them smell, I could see him smell the air. I knew, as soon as he looked at me, that he knew where I was. He was smart, real smart.
Now, do you have any are there any other like ranchers or farmers that you talk to that has anybody ever like mentioned anything like this to you?
The only thing is, I talked to the girl that I raised cattle next to my whole life. Very truthful person. I asked her a couple of years ago, had any problems with wolves this year? And she said, well, she was up getting cattle out, looked down that long, big ridge, and she said she's seen a wolf chasing one of her cows. And she never had no gun, and she's too far away. But she said, man, there was a big wolf, and that cow was as fast as it could, and that thing was right on its ass. She said, I think it got one of my cows.
Wow.
And she lost, I don't know if they lost something like, one neighbor lost 8. And that's just unheard of. I a long time ago, I'd lose 1 a year, maybe, or 2 or something, but I wouldn't lose 8,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What bothered me, when I got home, after I seen the elk, I was mad. I was wondering what the hell did it, but I was mad because I thought that they had killed too much. I thought, if you want one, kill one, eat it, but don't eat it. You're killing more animals than you need.
Right.
But after I got up there, I seen they eat it all. I guess they need more, but at the time, I was just kind of mad. I was like, you bastard wolves, you son of bitches.
Yeah.
And I just, for the first day, I kept thinking, no, it's got to be a cougar kill. It's got to be a cougar kill. But nothing felt right on it. It just didn't feel right.
Well, like you said, there was no marks on the back or the haunches, the
neck.
Yeah, there was
nothing. Not a mark. Not a mark.
That's insane.
Couldn't understand it. Never seen it like it before. And the way it was eating off, that bull was eating off. He had his front legs there, but right behind them legs, that thing was just sheared straight off, like somebody took a chainsaw.
Wow.
It was just so strange. And there were, no other bones there at all. Just a strange thing. They usually hone in on one elk and kill it, knock it down. Yeah. Well, this bull was too close to this other cow. They shouldn't have been taking 2 at the same time. They usually don't do that. They just won't. Most of the time, they'll always try to get that one down first, and then if there's another one around looking, they're going to take it. But it was just such an eerie, weird feeling I got from the start.
Yeah.
As soon as I walked up on it, within 15 seconds after looking at it over, I knew something was something I'd never seen before.
And regardless, elk are not a small animal either.
They're big. I mean, they're a very big animal. A deer, but an elk, they're big.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they're big. And you get a bull, he was big. I could tell by his front shoulders. He was in good shape. His neck looked good. His teeth were great.
And
I just couldn't understand how they could get a cow and then a full-grown bull down too.
Yeah, and they're fearless too. Elk are fearless. They're not afraid of much. I mean,
No, they'll turn a fight if they have to.
Yeah.
But a wolf is a real killer. He'll knock them down. They'll flank them, until they can't run. Then they'll get them down. And when they first start off, one will run it until he gets tired. Then another one will run it until he's tired. And finally, the other's going to get tired.
Yeah.
The other one's a little behind, just catching up. Well, they flank it, and get it down. And then a wolf, he'll start eating on them with the cow still alive. They don't kill them unless they die from a shock, which they'll do real quick, and other things. But they'll start eating on the hind quarter with the cow bringing her head up off the ground and going down, up. They'll eat them.
Yeah, real wildlife, and the predator hunts are very aggressive and not something for the light of heart. That's for sure.
No. But, once you've been I was taught from an early age, like about 6. My dad took me out and said, "Hey, this calf's going to die. It's your job from now on to take care of them. If they have to, they ain't going to make it, Billy. We don't want them to suffer. We just don't." So he taught me how to shoot cattle in the head, and that was my job. And, I'd take care of a calf for 2 weeks, giving it milk, and take a bad turn. I'd have to shoot it. It was a tough deal.
Yeah.
But that was my job. And, I got tough real quick, real early. And, but I knew I was something special with a gun. I just knew it from the start. And that's why nothing ever scared me. And then I didn't think there was anything up there that could really scare me that bad.
Right.
But what I know now, I wouldn't go up there without being so armed up that, I'm going to be armed up.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wouldn't even go from my cabin out to the outhouse without carrying my weapon no more. I just wouldn't. It's just, that's what it's done to me. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Bill, do me a favor. Don't hang up when we end the interview. Okay. I want to talk to you for a few minutes after. Is there anything that you'd like to say to the subscribers that are listening?
I'd say, just be careful. If everything gets quiet, look around you, be careful. Try not to go in the woods by yourself. And try to carry a weapon, know how to use it, and just have fun. It's one of the millions of a chance to run into one. I've been up there that long. My number came up.
Yeah.
But most people, I don't think, will ever run into them. I think, Bigfoot will run into. If you do, it's just a freak deal. Yeah. And, you still want to have fun. You can see what it's done to me. And you really just don't want to see them. So I think what I've heard is you can just kind of don't look at them, just walk away. And most of them will leave you alone. They might be curious, whatever. Unless one's really pissed off and he's made up his mind that, he's coming, then you better get your shit together real fast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, it was great talking to you. I appreciate it. When you go up this spring, keep me in the loop. I'd like to know what's going on.
I will. I'll keep you in the loop. You'll be the first person I send a picture to, buddy.
I appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon.
I'll keep my phone on me this time so I can get pictures.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Bring a GoPro or something with you.
Always have something. I just thought I needed it that day, and I sure wish I did.
When you get out of the woods, hide that SD card too. Get that SD card out of there as fast as possible.
What was so weird is as soon as I sent you that email the other day, about 4 days later, my phone got hacked.
Yeah,
and I took it into the guy that works there. Is a good friend of mine. He's a genius on these, and he worked for 4 hours on it and still couldn't figure it out. He said, "Bill, I can't figure out how this hack got in there, what it is." He goes, "I've never seen anything like it before."
And
so I had to get a brand new phone. And
the email friggin' said straight up, "Jeff, I had a shootout with one of these. I killed one."
Yeah.
Something, and then I emailed you back a couple days later, and you're like, "Hey, I just got my phone back, got a new phone," and then you told me what happened, and so you
kind of made me think a little bit about it. Now, I'd say I'd say it's an 80% chance that I did get hacked by some type of agency or something else. This guy said that whoever did it really knew what the hell they were doing.
Yeah. Especially with the black helicopters around your property afterwards and stuff.
Very strange.
Things are strange, yeah. Absolutely.
Very strange. Yeah, usually, I mean, I haven't seen a helicopter in there for 30 years, and that one came over to Blaylock and come down and had a net underneath, and it dropped out a bear. And this bear rolled down the hill and got up and was pissed off. And he had a big hump on his back. And I remember me and my brother-in-law going, that looks like a grizzly. They're not supposed to be putting grizzlies in here. But we found out through the game department, because my grandpa, all his connections, that they were bringing problem bears in here from like Yellowstone and shit and dropping them off.
Wow.
And we put a stop to that. We found out, we got on the game department, and we stopped that. But that's the only time I ever saw a helicopter in there.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And that was just an odd deal right there, them dropping a bear out of a netting.
Yeah, definitely is.
And they dropped him in someplace that nobody ever goes. Nobody ever hunts. They'll hunt it for 40 years. They never see whatever goes in there. If it stays there, they'll never see it.
Right.
Ever.
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So,
all right,
yeah,
buddy.
well, it was wonderful talking to you, Jeff.
It was. Stay on the line, though. I'm going to end the interview. All right. Thank you,
Okay.
Bill.
You bet.
All right, folks. I really love that interview. Bill is just a really nice guy. I've got to get Bill back on this channel and ask about what he had planned. I want to see if he was able to achieve or accomplish what his kind of plan was, what he put in motion. I don't believe he was doing this like maliciously. I believe that he wholeheartedly wanted to protect his land, his animals, and his family and friends, as well as the public. I don't think he is a malicious person. I don't think, any ill intent was out there. These sometimes creatures are dangerous, and dangerous animals need sometimes to get dispatched. I know some people will not like that, and you're entitled to your own opinion. I am as well. The majority of the people that don't like that are the ones that never experienced or had an encounter, though. So, anyway, really nice guy. I want to see if he was able to accomplish what he had planned, and I'm going to reach out to him right after this upload and see. Anyway, guys, your support is what makes this channel so special and what continues to make it grow and go, and it is truly, truly appreciated. With that being said, please, everyone, stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant. Please keep an eye on the children, your pets, your family, and friends. Share just a little bit of information with those that you love and care about, that we share here with each other on a daily basis, and that little bit of information may save their life someday. Anyway, guys, have a blessed rest of your day, and God bless you all.